It's the morning after a shocking final night at the couple's retreat. Domenica's apology for smashing a wine glass was met with snide comments from Olivia in front of the group. It raised concerns for Jackson, who confronted his wife, leading to her having a panic attack. "Last night was a nightmare," Jackson says the next morning. "It was a different side that I saw to you last night. I gave you plenty of warning that that's what I'm like," Olivia replies. Stream every episode of Married at First Sight for free on 9 now. Jackson tells her he felt like she was picking a fight, and Olivia breaks down in tears. She tells him she feels terrible for letting him down. But 2 seconds later she's ranting about Domenica again. "She's just such white trash and I don't even want to know her," Olivia blasts. Meanwhile, Domenica tells Ella she thinks Olivia is not genuine at all, noting the rude comments she made during the final night of the retreat. Domenica and Olivia on the moment that led to a wine glass shattering at MAFS couples retreat. But in better news, Kate and Matt are on a high following their time on the retreat. "There's still time to turn this around," Matt says enthusiastically. Sky Sweets. Returning from the couple's retreat, Carolina's first order of business is a sneaky catch-up with Daniel. They meet at a bar, and yes, Daniel is still wearing shirts that are at least 2 sizes too small. "Obviously I'm going to write leave," Carolina tells him, and it looks like her relationship with Dion is over. Daniel opens up about his secret date night with Carolina on MAFS. Things get hot and heavy pretty quick. They are making out and rubbing each other's legs. Even when they leave the bar they can't stop kissing. Apologies to anyone who needs to use this staircase. "Sorry, this staircase is off limits." Pre-dinner party. Just as quickly as Kate and Matt's relationship hit a new high, it's plummeted to a low. They wake up in separate apartments after Matt's drunken night out. "I didn't like the way he was acting. I didn't even want him sleeping in this room," Kate says. Matt wakes up and his feelings right now are worse than any hangover. He's regretful, remorseful, and sorry, and goes to apologize to Kate for his inebriated behavior. "I literally want to vomit and hide in a hole, but I've got to apologize," Matt tells Kate. Matt apologizes to Kate, who is now completely off him. Kate tells him, "We're a bit too told to behaving like 20-year-olds, and is clearly off him." Tamara and Brent are in a difficult place too. After barely talking during the couple's retreat, they are now staying in separate apartments. Across the hall, Olivia is coming up with a strategy to handle Domenica at the dinner party. "If she goes at me, my tactic is to laugh it off and not bite," she says. Olivia's dinner party game plan is not to engage with Domenica. Carolina too is coming up with a plan. Domenica is an evil mean girl. "She's a BCH, Carolina says. "I feel like Domenica will come for me, but I will definitely not engage on any drama tonight." Domenica isn't Carolina's only concern. She adds that she can't communicate with Dion. Turns out, Carolina isn't actually looking forward to seeing anyone. The cocktail party. Selena and Cody are first to arrive, followed by Ella and Mitch and a solo Brent, who looks defeated and feels awkward. "You can see he's putting on a brave front," expert Mel Schilling notices, before Tamara walks in. She quickly says hello to Brent, but tells the camera that she doesn't really care to engage in much conversation. Olivia and Jackson walk in next, and the experts notice the couple look a little bit off. In pictures all the best dinner party looks from MAFS 2022 drama, with a side serving of style. They are followed by Kate and Matt. "Are you in trouble?" Tamara asks Matt. "Yeah, I am in trouble. I stuffed up," he admits. "We were gaining a little bit of momentum back, then I stuffed all of the momentum." Sam and Al arrive, bringing a bit of lightness into the room, before Dion makes an entrance alone, again. Moments later, in walks Carolina. She says hello to Dion, who offers her a drink and it doesn't go down well. Dion coming to me and offering a glass of wine was fake. Just don't like it, she blasts. Dion hands Carolina a drink, who then calls his gesture fake. Olivia's plan to not engage with Domenica isn't going well. She should come with a warning sign. This the glass smashing just shows that she's unhinged and dangerous, Olivia vents to Tamara. Expert Alessandra Rampolla says, she's expecting a confrontation, clearly. Domenica and Jack are the last to arrive, and as she does the rounds to say hello, Olivia makes a statement and walks away. I won't be acknowledging Dom unless she acknowledges me first. I refuse to bend the knee, Olivia tells the camera. The dinner. When dinner begins, the only sound that can be heard is clinking cutlery. No one dares to break the silence. We're getting bored, so it's a huge relief when Matt decides to kick things off with an apology speech. My actions, my behavior were shocking. They were out of line. I'm sorry that I did that. My behavior was nothing short of disastrous and a complete decay, he says. Matt apologizes to the group, and we are all thankful for him breaking the silence. The other brides and grooms all thank him for his apology and praise him for owning his actions and being remorseful. That's a good apology, Olivia says, potentially baiting Domenica. She doesn't bite. Kate doesn't react to Matt's apology and suggests it might not be enough to save their marriage. As dinner continues, Domenica asks Dion how his is going. He says he's drained, and it prompts Carolina to blast him for not trying in their relationship. I'm not doing this. I'm actually going to move, Dion says and drags his chair to the other side of the table. It's not enough to escape, and Carolina again accuses Dion of not trying. You didn't want a relationship from the start, Dion says from across the table. I was never good looking enough. I was never attractive for you. I was never going to connect with you because I don't drink coffee or go to the gym. I was doomed from the start. Dion tells the cameras that Carolina isn't the person he met early on their wedding day or honeymoon. It just changed like that, he says, clicking his fingers. But Dion is completely unaware that Daniel is likely the reason why. While Dion taps out of the argument, Domenica steps in, and it kicks off yet another with Carolina. I didn't agree with your behavior and blatantly putting Dion down, so I wanted to make that clear, she says. You attacking her made it clear. I'm just so over it, Olivia butts in, banging her head on the table. Things descend into chaos after that. We can't yell at her, Domenica, but she can yell at everybody else, Olivia snarls. We can't yell at her, but she can smash a glass in our faces, Carolina adds. I've apologized, Domenica says. Apology was quite light. Excuses were quite heavy, Olivia hits back. Olivia continues that she was never going to accept the apology from Domenica, but would appreciate a good one. Olivia bites back, furious with Domenica after the couple's retreat. But while Dom's apology wasn't good enough for Carolina and Olivia, the other brides and grooms, including Matt, Ella, Jack, Samantha and Kate, say it was good enough for them. What do you want her to do? For goodness sake, she made a mistake and apologized. Move on, guys, Matt says. They are not moving on. Domenica calls out Olivia for her rude comments during her apology, but Olivia says it was wrong of her to leave the night right after the apology. Domenica faces off with Carolina and Olivia. Domenica gets fired up and Carolina chimes in. Hold your glasses, everyone. Take it away from Domenica. She might smash another one, she says smugly. Dion jumps in to try to calm things down and says, this is not how a group of adults should be acting. This needs to stop right now. This is getting out of control. Olivia concedes and apologizes to Domenica for the snide comments during her apology at the couple's retreat. I'm really mortified. I didn't realize that they were even coming out of my mouth. I did not intend to say it. I did. My bad. "I'm so sorry," she